The spot where we are is pretty cool. It's a hillside. The view is amazing. We have the caves all underground. I mean, it's cute.
I'm here at Maison Fayard, and we are in downtown Napa for the second time on this trip. And I'm here with Julien Fayard. Very, very happy to have you on the podcast.
Nice meeting you too.
Welcome
to Maison Fayard.
Yeah, beautiful place. I was here once before. Last year for Premiere, you had an event here.
Yes.
I remember it because there were a lot of people here, but it was still fun.
It was packed. Yeah. And so we put some people a little bit outside this year, and that kind of balanced it perfectly. But yes, this is a place to showcase our wines, but also for the clients that we make wine with to also use as a representation space and access. It's a public place, so we can host people. It's easy to put an event together. We don't need special permit.
That's nice.
And it's contained and ready to go. So.
And you are, of course, from France.
Yes.
What part of France are you from?
So I was born in central France, Saint-Étienne, Massif Central. Great region for cream and Michelin star restaurants, not much for wine. Wow. And the whole family moved in the south of France. My mother is from Marseille, and I grew up in Toulon, also about an hour away. And my uncle started a winery in the 70s in La Londe-les-Morts, Château Sainte-Marguerite. And yes, that's where I grew up. On the French area.
So for you, getting into the wine industry, I mean, you literally were born into it, but was it something that you wanted to go into when you were younger?
Yeah, I think when you grow up, you look for the silver bullet, and when you're at it's a luxury now, but at the time, the chance to work in the cellar and the vineyards when I was young. Yeah. But when you're picking up rocks, at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, you're kind of trying to figure out if there's something better. Yeah. And because I started young, I did some technical studies. I had a really good resume for wine, which allowed me to get to great places. And usually to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do, and have no issue there. And so that led kind of an easy shoe-in into the wine business. But I was coding my own softwares and my own websites, and
really?
I had different interests. But at one point, with the opportunities of life, I decided to focus on wine. And I love wine. I mean, that's a passion too, but I knew it's also a tough business. It's not an easy business. So it's just a path of life made that I was a very good technician. The technical basis, culture, knowledge, experiences, the travel I did helped to just focus me on that. And so I just decided to stick to it.
What year was your first vintage?
Well, so I started working when I was 14 on summer jobs and weekend jobs. My first internship, I was 18 in Provence. That was my technical studies. And then I've picked every harvest, sometimes 2 times per harvest.
That's a lot.
And yes, yeah, that's something that a lot of people. I mean, I have it in reviews with some of our staff. Is like, I've been doing that for 4 years. I'm like, welcome to the club. And it's rinse and repeat, but you progress as you do. And it's very technical. You can be book smart with wine. It's great. It helps your understanding of things.
Yeah.
But you have to be practical. You have practicality. I mean, it's like pottery or painting. You got to find your body has to learn it, and it only goes through time. Some learn faster than others, but and then things change. People change, palate change, consumer change, and you change with that.
Did you feel that was a natural calling for you, though?
Yeah, there was I didn't force myself into it. Yes, and it was a great environment. I'm really close to my cousin. We're 6 months apart. We studied together, worked together, traveled together. It's, really close, as a brother close. So that was never a question to hang out with him, and he was destined to take over the winemaking for his family estate. So, and then right when I graduated, my uncle doubled the size of the winery and bought another winery. And so there was an opening to have a full-time position to run an estate. And in France, when you graduate and you get offered to manage an estate on your own, and you're barely 25, it's really rare.
That's amazing.
So it was the technical baggage plus the fact it was family and the relationship that allowed me to have that opportunity.
But being family, that puts something on your shoulders, doesn't it?
Yes and no. I think for being family has actually made it easier.
Really?
Yes, because you have more communication. So, but I was the cousin, not the son, and he has 4 kids.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made me or allowed me to be like, I don't have to stay there and I can move to the US and continue on my own. We worked together 3 years. I don't recall any bad day.
That's nice.
You know.
Well, you're making wine.
Yeah, and with Enzo, which was good. It was just, it worked. It was a natural alignment that never been an issue.
Very much a wine thing, natural like that.
Yes.
When was it that you came to the U.S. and what made you make that decision?
So it was 20 years ago, 2006, winter of 2006. So there was a mix. I met an American girl, so that helped.
Oh, that would definitely influence it.
Yes, but that gave me the opportunity. So I remember being at the embassy and looking at the opportunities and like, what happened if I don't get a green card? You know?
Yeah.
Then I would have gone to like New Zealand or somewhere. Like I was ready to go and travel and venture on my own. That was a calling there. And in 2003, luckily, I did an internship at Quintessa. And I really, really loved the Napa Valley. And I could see a huge potential for the wine industry. And that verified itself after 20 years, I think. But it was a pleasant area. There was all the markers of the industry to set up the same way it is set up in Europe. You know, the way people consume wine is very similar, and it's just a matter of a maturation of the society and maturation of wine into the society. I say America is a beer and whiskey country. It used to be a milk country. And it's, I think, what built America, as the firewater. So that and beer, and then wine now, as I think, it's controversial in a way without being controversial, but we have a refinement of the society in terms of food, tables, restaurants, all that stuff that is pretty fantastic, and wine is right along the lines with that. And it's hard to replace. It competes on its own. It's not alcohol, it's food. And that's how you distinguish yourself from there's culture, like you take, Japanese people, for example, they drink a bunch of wine, but it's not part of their culture. They start with a beer and sake. That's their culture. Wine is a refinement. America, I think, is gonna become it's biblical. It's part of the fundamentals. But it hasn't been practiced in the society. But I think as we developed, and I'm vested in that 300%, better wine, better price, below $30, really, really good wines, and transparent, that were well made, we're going to see more consumers.
Give me a little idea of what your road was once you came to the U.S.
When I came, I started to do little jobs, odd jobs. And Philippe Melka, his assistant, became pregnant with a baby during harvest. So I came on board.
Of course. When else would that happen?
Yeah. So I came on board as an intern. And I was interviewing to, find my next job after. And 2 people called me back and said, well, it looks like Philippe wants to keep you. So we're not going to go forward with the interview. And I called Philippe and said, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, but it's complicated and this, and we're a small company. And I was like, okay, yeah, I understand. And so what he did, he provided me with one project and then a full-time job, paid part-time, which was perfect.
Okay.
That's how you start.
Yeah, well, it's a start, right?
Sorry, guys. It's the fucking reality of the world.
It is, yes.
But that was fantastic because that helped me to grow. I sticked with him for 9 years. and I loved every single day of it too. And we're still close friends for
That's
a long
good.
time.
That's great.
But it let me develop my own clientele, my own projects. So when I jumped in 13, I already had a full setup. I was already working full speed, and I was crushing it. So I never had a transition that was a major transition. It was a big change because it was almost a decade of my life of his clients, and the personal relationship were really, really special. But that allowed me to be on my own. And we tried to melt the two consultings together, but I think it was a time in his life that he was not ready for it. So that, so I went on my own, and here we go.
Very good.
Built a winery in Coombsville in 2012, finished in 15. Then 18, I built one in the South Napa. So we do all the custom crush there. So we're all contained in-house.
Nice.
So that was the next step when we developed our tools. And then 24, we opened Maison Fayard, which is kind of the retail aspect of the consulting. It's a showcase. It's for people to have access, easy access. You don't need a reservation. You can show up. And so I wanted to give access to people. They don't need to have, the cost of visiting a couple wineries, the time, it's fantastic to do. You should do it. You discover wineries, you discover why they are there, the story, but you don't have the physical time and resources to really go in depth. And so here you can just show up, and then everything is available.
The main reason I'm here for this particular week, and that is Coombsville. So tell me, in your mind, what makes Coombsville special?
So Coombsville for me is it dials back the heat of Napa. We're in volcanic layers. We have the story of Napa there. The soil is a little thin, but that's a different chapter. But I like to say it's, I forgot who coined that one, but it's the last one to warm up, the first one to cool down for the AVAs. And what it does is it dials back the heat, and it dials back the cycle of ripening to where our polyphenols and our sugar loading kind of match. And so we can ripen at lower sugar, and it gives a little more finesse. It retains a little more acidity. So that's not the darling of the Parker years, but with what's coming and the style of wine and the change in people's palate, we're right in tune with that. So you have a freshness, but you're not as cold as a Class Peak on Viders that are mountain elevation with a cooler exposure to the bay, where you get some greenness, you get some flavors that are a little more pyrazinic. Coombsville, we ripen, unless you're on first, and then there is like the Mink Vineyard with beautiful Chard and Pinot there. That's a little outlier, but that's how much the stratus of cold air and temperature lay into Coombsville. If you're really low, it's a little dangerous for cab. But when you go First Avenue, Second Avenue, like the Meteor, all that area, it's fantastic for ripening Cabernet. The charming part of Coombsville was the closeness to downtown. So we're only 7 minutes from downtown, not even 10, 7. There was not the AVA at the time, so it was still undercover. Sure. The spot where we are is pretty cool. It's a hillside, the view is amazing. We have the caves all underground. I mean, it's cute. And so that was special. Maybe we're looking on Dry Creek on the other side. Like Dry Creek, I knew that the soil was not as great, but it would have been a good location. So, when you get lemons, you make lemonade type of thing. We found that space, and we found that place, and we made it our own. And that was, I think, the luxury and the pleasure was to be able to develop that site and to put our footprint on it and our vision. You don't get that opportunity many times in a lifetime, and therefore I can't really be too picky about it.
For our listeners who'd like to learn about you online, what is your website?
So we have a website called Fayard.wine. So F as in Frank, A-Y-A, R as in Remy, D as in David, .wine. Or you just Google my name, it'll pop.
Yeah. Julian, this has been a real pleasure meeting you, and you're so easy to talk to, so I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Yes, no, it's been fun.
Good.
Until next time.
Until next time.